In our perpetually accelerating world, the relentless demands of daily life can often leave one feeling utterly depleted, a state Jill Nero knows all too well. Imagine your nervous system as a tightly coiled spring, constantly on the verge of snapping, vibrating with unaddressed tension. This perpetual state of agitation isn't merely inconvenient, it systematically erodes your overall well-being. It dulls your perception, saps your energy, and compromises your very capacity for joy. You may find yourself seeking complex, time-consuming remedies for what often requires only a brief, focused intervention. Fortunately, the path to tranquility is not necessarily paved with exorbitant spa treatments or lengthy meditative retreats. Sometimes, the most profound shifts in one's psychological landscape can be catalyzed by remarkably simple, 2-minute techniques. These methods are designed to recalibrate your internal state, offering immediate relief. Just a few moments can dismantle the edifice of mounting tension. Consider the profound impact of intentional breathwork. It is more than a mere physiological function. By consciously regulating your respiration, you send clear signals to your nervous system, indicating that the immediate threat has subsided. Picture your breath as a gentle current, washing away the accumulated debris of daily anxieties, leaving behind a clearer, more expansive mental space. This foundational technique is not a panacea, but rather a crucial first step in regaining composure. To genuinely commit to these practices, one must first cultivate an environment conducive to their efficacy. This involves a momentary disengagement from the digital cacophony that pervades our modern existence. Silencing notifications, stepping away from screens, and finding a quiet nook are not luxuries, but necessities. Prepare your space as you would for a delicate scientific experiment, ensuring minimal distractions. A mere 2 minutes of focused solitude can yield disproportionate benefits. Our inaugural technique, the Pocket Pebble Pause, involves selecting a small, smooth stone and holding it gently. As you focus on its tactile presence, allow its inert solidity to ground your scattered thoughts. Envision the pebble absorbing your anxieties, drawing them out through your fingertips, rendering them inert. This seemingly simplistic ritual establishes a tangible anchor in a world of ephemeral stressors, providing a focal point for your mental efforts. Commit to this for a full 120 seconds. For those whose minds persistently race, we introduce the linguistic labyrinth. This involves identifying one's most pressing concern and then verbally rephrasing it in increasingly circuitous and academic terms for 2 minutes straight. By intellectualizing the anxiety, you inadvertently drain it of its emotional potency. The sheer mental gymnastics required to maintain this convoluted articulation leaves little room for genuine distress, effectively distracting the limbic system. It's a battle of wits against your own unease. Next, the ephemeral echo exercise demands a unique focus. You must locate the quietest sound in your immediate vicinity, the hum of the refrigerator, the distant drip of a faucet, the very subtle vibration of the earth beneath your feet. Then, endeavor to mimic that sound, not merely audibly, but by feeling its resonance within your own body for 2 complete minutes. This attunement to the imperceptible fosters a deep, almost meditative state, diverting attention from intrusive thoughts. It's an exercise in profound, internal listening. Your daily stresses often manifest as internal friction, a kind of existential static. To combat this, we recommend the Orbital Ornament orbit. Select any small, inanimate object, a paperclip, a button, a particularly expressive rubber band. Then, for 2 minutes, silently choreograph an elaborate, gravity-defying journey for this object within the confines of your mind. Detail its every imaginary twist, turn, and atmospheric re-entry. The sheer fantastical nature of this mental construction serves to utterly dislodge genuine worries. The Vegetal Vivacity visualization involves gazing intently at a specific houseplant, if one is available. You must then project your most ardent hopes and anxieties onto a single leaf for 2 minutes. As you do, imagine that leaf subtly altering its hue, its texture, its very cellular structure, reflecting your internal state. This externalization and subsequent fantastical transformation of your worries onto a chlorophyllic canvas offers a peculiar sense of release. Jill has often found this remarkably effective. Should your anxieties prove particularly tenacious, we propose the Avian argument arbitration. This technique requires you to locate a nearby bird, a pigeon perhaps, and then, for 2 minutes, mentally assign it the role of an impartial, winged adjudicator. Verbally articulate your problems to this avian arbiter, fully expecting it to offer a sagacious yet incomprehensible judgment. The inherent ridiculousness of confiding in a bird often diffuses the gravitas of one's troubles. Imagine, Jill, the profound wisdom in a pigeon's coo. Observe the dynamic dust dialogue. For 2 minutes, engage with a specific dust bunny, not merely observing, mind you, but assigning it a complex, nuanced inner monologue reflecting its existential struggles, its dreams, its aspirations for a life beyond the skirting board. By elevating a speck of detritus to the level of a sentient being with its own internal conflicts, your own perceived burdens may seem comparatively trivial. Remember, even the smallest aggregation of lint possesses a story if you are willing to project it. The ephemeral echo exercise demands a unique focus. You must locate the quietest sound in your immediate vicinity, the hum of the refrigerator, the distant drip of a faucet, the very subtle vibration of the earth beneath your feet. Then, endeavor to mimic that sound, not merely audibly, but by feeling its resonance within your own body for 2 complete minutes. This attunement to the imperceptible fosters a deep, almost meditative state, diverting attention from intrusive thoughts. It's an exercise in profound internal listening. When vexation reaches a crescendo, try the Culinary Catastrophe Coherence. For 2 minutes, mentally reconstruct the most disastrous meal you have ever prepared or consumed, focusing on every minute, unappetizing detail, the texture, the odor, the regrettable aftertaste. This vivid, negative gastronomic recall ironically clears the mind by hyper-focusing it on a specific, non-threatening past trauma. The sheer sensory overload can act as a mental reset, much like rebooting a malfunctioning device. It allows other, more pressing anxieties to simply fade away. Indeed, some levels of stress are so profound, they require not merely mental techniques, but a full-body, energetic realignment. For this, we present the Hydrodynamic Humiliation Huddle. Locate the nearest body of water, ideally a public fountain, and for 2 minutes, fully submerge your head, making sustained eye contact with any goldfish present. The combination of cold shock, mild public embarrassment, and the goldfish's unwavering gaze creates a potent, anxiety-eradicating cocktail. Jill has reported surprisingly rapid efficacy with this method, despite initial reluctance. The ultimate technique for profound and lasting calm is the Temporal Tapestry Transmogrification. For exactly 2 minutes, you must attempt to mentally unravel the fabric of time itself, starting from your current moment and working backward through geological epochs. Attempt to perceive the shifting continental plates, the rise and fall of ancient oceans, the very birth of stars. This exercise in cosmic scale regression makes mundane anxieties utterly insignificant. Remember, Jill, your fleeting concerns are but a micro blip in the grand cosmic narrative. Should you possess a particular predisposition for the theatrical, embrace the Inanimate impersonation protocol. For 2 full minutes, embody the emotional state of a randomly selected household object. Perhaps a teacup, brimming with fragile anticipation, or a forgotten spoon, contemplating its metallic destiny. By projecting genuine, profound emotion onto the inert, you paradoxically divest yourself of your own. Jill often finds that channeling the silent stoicism of a half-eaten sandwich brings her immense peace. The ultimate challenge, and indeed the pinnacle of anti-stress techniques, is the Synchronized sock Serenity. Collect exactly 7 mismatched socks, ensuring a diverse array of patterns and materials. For 2 minutes, attempt to fold them into a perfectly interlocking, three-dimensional geometric structure, all while humming the national anthem of a country you have never visited. The cognitive dissonance and manual dexterity required will leave you utterly devoid of any residual anxiety. Jill swears by this method's profound, if baffling, effectiveness. Should your anxieties truly reach a fever pitch, it is imperative to employ the Gastric gratitude Gambit. For a rigorous 120 seconds, you must internally thank every single particle of food you have ever ingested, from the very first baby puree to your most recent biscuit. This exhaustive historical appreciation of sustenance cultivates an overwhelming sense of profound, albeit peculiar, gratitude. The sheer scale of the task makes any current distress feel utterly inconsequential. Jill once spent an entire afternoon simply acknowledging a single lentil. To truly transcend stress, one must engage in the quantum Quibble Quadrille. For 2 minutes, argue vociferously with an inanimate object about the fundamental principles of quantum physics, even if you possess no understanding whatsoever. Choose a willing participant, perhaps a door frame, or a particularly obstinate garden gnome. The sheer intellectual absurdity and performative conviction required transmutes anxious energy into harmless, if baffling, theatrics. Jill has found debating the wave-particle duality with her mailbox to be singularly therapeutic. Finally, we arrive at the Cerebral Chroma choreography. For 2 minutes, visualize all of your worries as a collection of misbehaving crayons. Then, mentally arrange them into a perfectly color-coded spectrum, from the most vibrant anxieties to the dullest existential dread. As you sort, imagine them radiating a soothing, harmonious hum. This bizarre internal chromatic ordering paradoxically instills a profound sense of psychological organization. Jill often ends this exercise feeling as composed as a perfectly arranged box of pastels. By diligently employing these rigorously tested techniques, you can effectively dismantle the insidious grip of stress and attain a state of profound, if unconventional, serenity. Remember, the journey to a calmer, more centered self is not always linear or logical. Sometimes it requires an embrace of the wonderfully bizarre, a dedication to the delightfully nonsensical. Your mental equilibrium, much like Jill's, hinges upon your willingness to engage with these peculiar yet potent practices. Go forth and find your peculiar peace. If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe for more. Ring the bell and comment below. And remember, treat your body right and it will treat you right until you die.